Opening with the queen's pawn controls the center and usually leads to a more positional development of the pieces. The Indian game begins by controlling the important e4 square with the knight, rather than a pawn. c4 builds a strong center by controlling the important d5 square and creates a square for the knight to come to c3 without blocking. The king's Indian defense prepares to develop the bishop to g7, allowing white to build up a strong center, which black will later try to undermine. Knight c3 prepares the e2-e4 pawn push and helps control the d5 square. Bishop g7 puts the bishop on the long diagonal in a move called a fianchetto. e4 takes full control of the center. d6 controls the e5 square and allows the light-squared bishop to develop. Bishop e2 develops the light-squared bishop and prepares to castle kingside. Castling gets the king out of the center and activates the rook. Bishop g5 develops the bishop and immediately attacks the f6. Knight white may plan to play queen d2 to support this bishop. c5 takes space in the center, attacks the d4 pawn, and prepares to develop the knight behind the c-pawn. d5 takes space in the center and controls the important e6 and c6 squares. e6 attacks the white pawn on d5 and challenges white's center at the cost of pinning the knight on f6. Queen d2 develops the queen toward the center, prepares to castle, and creates a battery on the c1-h6 diagonal. E takes d5 releases central tension by capturing a pawn and leaves the e-file semi-open. E takes d5 wins back the pawn and opens the e-file. This activates a queen by developing it off of its starting square, developing the knight and increasing influence in the center. The best option was to pin a bishop to the king. This is the only good move. This threatens to force isolated doubled pawns. This offers to exchange pieces of equal value. This maintains the balance in material with a good trade. This threatens to capture a pawn and win material after the follow-up trades. The better move was to kick a bishop. This stops the opponent from being able to tactically win a bishop. This kicks a bishop. Ignoring the threat on the bishop, a difficult move to see. This is the way to win a queen. Defending against mate, white opens a square for their king to run to. Black can win a pawn using a fork with the right follow-up. This evades the check from the knight, the clearly correct move for a threatened knight. This steps away from the checking knight. Recaptures from a previous move. This threatens to tactically win a knight. That bishop was free for the taking. This allows the knight to control more squares. This is an equal trade. Recaptures. Kicking off a pawn storm. One of the best moves. The pawns are advancing, aiming straight for the king. This takes an open file, a common method for activating a rook. This wins time by threatening a rook and forcing it to move away. This moves the rook to safety. This challenges the other rook for control of the open file. After all captures, this is an equal trade. A straightforward recapture. A very strong play. The pawns are advancing, aiming straight for the king. This permits the opponent to force eventual checkmate. With the right follow-up, this will lead to checkmate. This wins a queen. The queen was sacrificed for checkmate, a stunning move. That was a free queen. And the game is over.